Welcome, chat, to another exciting episode within the German mindset. These seems to be my most popular streams when talking about the Germans. It's really interesting because a lot of Romanians that I know have went to Germany, and believe me, it's very difficult for them to adjust to the culture. Like, a lot of Americans believe that Europe is united. You guys use race a lot in order to analyze the world, and so you're like, well, Europe is white people, right? No, no. Like Europe has certain cultures that are so different, it would actually lead to conflict whenever they clash. And I think I'll give you an example a little bit later on why German culture is so different than Eastern European one. And it's just like something that you can't come to an understanding. It's like I would hate living there. Let me put it this way. And a lot of Romanians as well, they went to Germany for financial reasons. Like they finished med school and they were like, okay, well, I can be a doctor in my country and get 200 euros, or I can go to Germany and get a wage of 2,500. And they go to Germany and they absolutely hate it. Like, they hate the mindset, they hate the culture, they hate everything there, and they want to come back. So we're going to discuss about that. Someone said if the European Union doesn't need the United States, why doesn't it cut it off? Well, here's the thing, right? Like, there's a difference between what people on the ground think versus what the elites think. The thing with Europe is that it could actually be the most powerful nation on earth if we united. Like, if the European Union was like an actual country, right? So like not like a federal state or like one empire, if you will, with its own military, no bureaucracy, its own economy. Like we would actually be the richest nation on earth. Like the combined GDP of all these countries would skyrocket. We would probably have like one of the most powerful militaries on earth. But again, the problem is the culture. Like, you just can't get Europeans to work together at such a level. Like, you can get them to stop fighting with each other, but again, like, putting a German in charge of, like, a Polish military, I don't know if that would work out. Yeah, if you were to create, like, the United States of Europe or something. But you can't, right? So I do think it's for the best as well. There's also like a lot of historical grievances. There's also like a difference in thinking. The reality about Europe is that there's four Europes actually. You have Northern Europe, Southern Europe, Western Europe, and Eastern Europe. And all of these places, like, they have different ways of thinking, different ways of solving things, different ways of engaging with stuff, so... Alright, let me tell you, like, the major difference between German mindset and Romanian mindset. And also British mindset, right? So, like, the German mindset, I have a colleague of mine, she finished university, med school, and then worked in Germany. And she told me, like, her first impression there is that she was in a small town. It was, like, this small street. The small, very, very small crosswalk. Let me see if I can get a picture so you guys can understand what we're talking about, right? She felt like this really tiny crosswalk, like this. Okay, so picture that this is in Germany, even though it's not. She felt like this little tiny thing, and it was like in a neighborhood. It was 8 p.m. There were no cars, and the light was red. And so she does what any based Romanian would do. It's like, okay, there's no cars. So she just decided to cross. And apparently, like, every man, woman, and child was looking at her with such disdain, with such disgust. Like she violated some sacred laws of traffic. Like they looked at her with a level of contempt that goes beyond the crime that she has committed. Because Eastern Europeans were a lot more cynical. Like, for us, it's like, okay, well, what is the purpose of the light? It's to help traffic move along. Okay, if there's no cars on the horizon, and I cross it, so fucking what? First I look for a cop. Okay, there's no cops. And then you fucking cross it. That's it. That's what you do. In Germany, no. Like, in Germany, the law right? Like society is binded together only if every single person does the right thing every time, all the time, with no exception. The moment a single individual steps out of line, the perfect oiled machine that is society gets damaged. Society cannot function if we allow certain citizens to do what they want. Society doesn't function by allowing individuals to do acts based on their own will and volition. It only can function if individuals do the right thing at all time, and the right thing is dictated by your betters, aka the politicians from the Green Party. That is how Germany functions, and that is how it will be. And so you cannot put this onto a Eastern European. They will rebel. It's mind-fucking them. It's torture. Like, we do not function this way. And so the way Germany operates, it's like a woman. It's like the perpetual log house, the maximum strong lunar energy radiating on the nation. First, they will try to shame you, right? Like if you do something like this, they will try to shame you. And then you're like shaming tactics. Everyone stares. Everyone gawks. Oh my God, he crossed the street. Oh. And if you keep doing it, they actually become aggressive. Like... there was this, just so you can understand, also my friend showed me, like, it's on Facebook, she kept the Christmas lights a little longer than she was supposed to. I think it was February, and she didn't take off the Christmas lights. This is because she's a doctor, and she does shifts at the hospital. She just didn't have the fucking time. And so a neighbor flew a fucking drone, right? Like, they flew a drone to take a picture of her balcony, and then put that picture on her wall to ask her to take the Christmas lights. Like if I was in Romania, this is cause for violence. Like this is, I don't even know how to say, like the level of outrage, right? Like the Christmas lights are less important than the behavior of the Karen. Like being a Karen at that level in Romania causes aggression. Like you're inviting aggression into your life. Okay, like why the fuck are you flying a drone into my balcony? Fuck's your problem. Justify yourself right now before I get angry. And if someone comes up and it's like, oh, you're picking on an old woman. Ah, so you're with her then. Okay, you know, like this is the Eastern European mentality. Like the idea of live and let live, you know, like certain things do affect society, but other things, like someone let their Christmas lights, okay, no, that's not an issue, okay? Like society can actually function with some individuals doing minor things that are out of alignment. You fascist fuck. And so, with this in mind, you can really understand like the huge difference between how things work in Germany versus how things work in Eastern Europe. How can you cohabitate? Well, the way you can cohabitate is the Germans stay there and mind their own fucking business. We stay here and we mind our own business. That's how we cohabitate. You don't put us under the same nation. You don't get the Germans to make laws for us, right? Like, it's not acceptable. In Victoria, the police are overworked and underpaid, so they don't care about jaywalking. No. I'll tell you something else about Britain. Like, this is something that blew my fucking mind. When I was in London, a lot of people were playing this interesting video game called Frogger in real life. Have you guys played the game Frogger? Like, Frogger is when you play it as a cute frog, and you gotta jump from log to log in order to reach the other side of the river. Well, it's kind of like that, but instead of a cute frog, it's actual people, and they have to dart, like literally, they have to run through traffic in order to get from one side to another, and they're usually successful. But I was like thinking, like, how the fuck do they not get arrested? Well, not arrested, like fined. Right? Because, like, they're breaking the law. Like it's one thing, right? Because, again, like, I as a Romanian, like, I admit that it's okay if you're in a distant neighborhood at night and there's no traffic, it's okay to go on a red light. But what is not okay is, like, if you're in the middle of the day on a very busy highway and there is traffic, what the fuck are you thinking, right? Like, just wait for the green light. But no, like, people were going on a red light, and then I found out that apparently jaywalking in Britain is not illegal. It's only illegal for the cars. So, like, if you're in a car and you drive over a red light, that's a problem. But if you're a pedestrian and you just happen to walk on a red light, like no one cares. I don't know why. I don't know if there's any other nations that have this type of law, but it is what it is. All right, let me shield the live stream a little bit. There we go. Do I have people from Germany that can, oh, welcome to India. Okay, so there are other places. But I guess, like, with India, it's a little bit more explainable because, like, there's so many people there, right? Like, you have so many people. Or maybe I'm just coping and it's not explainable because, hold on, like, China also has a lot of people and they don't behave like that. I don't care if I technically have the right of way. I'm not testing that against the truck. Well, usually you don't get trucks in the city. You may get buses, though, right? Most metropolitan areas in Europe, they don't allow trucks to drive in the middle of the city. So, like, they have to go around the city. That's just any third world country. Have you seen how to cross the streets of literally anywhere in Asia? No, I haven't. But, like, okay, it's not about crossing the streets, right? It's like extrapolating what I just said to the culture as a whole. These are principles that they actually applied to how a person should live their life. Like, during the pandemic, again, my friend who's there, like, she told me something that baffled me. She was walking around with her mask on, but she was wearing it like a chin diaper in Germany. And so immediately, you have like this SWAT car, I don't know how they call it, the Bundeswehr, like they have a name for it. And it goes like, and it pulls over, and it has like the masked ones coming out. It's like, put your mask on back, you know? It's like, holy shit. Like in Germany, like during the pandemic, like everyone had to comply. And like the people would enforce that themselves. In Eastern Europe, people are like, okay, does the government have a point? No. Like, it's not justifiable to lock people in their homes. It's not justifiable to bring fascism over a cuff. And because of that, people are like, how do we fuck with the government? How do we make the life absolutely miserable to everyone that is trying to shill for this? And where are those people? Okay, well, they're on Facebook. Like, there's a Facebook page that is from the government and is trying to do fear porn. Spam laugh emojis on it. Every single post gets laugh emojis. Like, you'd have doctors saying that COVID is very dangerous, it can kill. And it had like 500 laugh emojis under it. You know, like literally demoralize them. Wherever you find them, demoralize them. And they were like so demoralized, they shut down that Facebook page. Members of the press found flyers onto their houses. Right? Like, this is how we operate in Eastern Europe compared to Germany. In Eastern Europe, it was like, how do we sue them? Like, let's dig through their past. It doesn't matter if it's COVID or not. Just find anything that we can use lawfare against them. Even if they win the lawsuit, the process is the punishment. Demoralize these people that are bringing fascism upon us, right? And so, in Romania, the vaccination rate was like incredibly low compared to the other European nations, but then it was even lower than disclosed because a lot of people would vaccinate themselves next to the sink. In other words, you go to a doctor, you pay a bribe, and the vaccine goes to the sink. This is the mentality of Eastern Europe. Like, the German mindset would suffer here. A German wouldn't be able to integrate themselves into our society. Hello, Entropy. Deutschland is for Deutsche, yes, so they have to stay there. Absolutely, I do agree. Like, as a non-German, Deutschland is for Deutsche. But, like, the way I'm saying it means that, yes, all of you guys should stay there. I was shouted at by 3 people for not wearing a mask during COVID. All 3 old white guys. I was shocked to be able... Australia is... Yeah, like, there are certain countries with this type of mentality, right? Like, obedient society has to function this way. If any single person doesn't work with society, then that's a problem. It destabilizes the whole system. Germany is one, Australia is another. I think even Israel may also be the same. It's like this type of culture Where you're not a human being with like your own personal values and shit. You're just a cog in a machine. It's a very corporate way of having a society. Unironically, the woke were like that as well, right? Like the woke ideologues. So like a lot of Americans that partook into the woke ideology believe the same. I think it's also certain evangelicals, like usually neo-Protestants, especially the born again, right? Like not all Christians. Like Romania is Orthodox Christians. Like we're very pious as a nation, and we're not like that. But if you're like one of those evangelicals, those neo-Protestants that take it to extreme, don't forget New Zealand. I don't know about New Zealand. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I've no idea. But it's basically, you know, like, are you allowed to do shit that other people hate without getting bothered? You know, like there are certain things that aren't okay to do, but like if you do them, will other people get in your face for it? Like for example, leaving the Christmas tree in in February, right? You're not supposed to leave the Christmas tree in February, but like if you do, will other people give you flack? You know, stuff that doesn't bother other people, but like they still go in your face in order to complain. I tell you how it's like to crosswalk in Germany. In some crosswalk, you still find the flyer which says, for kids, do not cross on a red light. C19, the vaccine, and the censorship 100% agree, yeah. Oh, be an example for children. Oh, fuck off. Oh, no. See, I really hate this whole shit. It's like, let's build society around children. Right? So, like, I'm not supposed to go on a red light because I'm setting a bad example for kids. Motherfucker, those kids don't have parents. They're not my fucking responsibility. Like, I grew up in a country where people, you know what they did? They went past the red light. And you know what I did as a kid? I didn't emulate that. Why? Because I had parents that told me. Oh, but not every kid has parents. Tough shit. Evolution becomes in effect, right? Like the evolutionary nature takes its course if those kids don't have fucking parents. I don't like this mindset, this American mindset. Like we need to, well, it's not American, it's Anglo mindset. That society needs to be built around the children, right? So like no one should have stake because kids can't chew the steak properly and we shouldn't make kids feel like, fuck off. No, absolutely not. No. Like, kids have their parents. That's where they're going to get their education from. Don't tell me not to go at a red light if I think there's no cars around and I'm an adult and I can make my own decisions. Again, like, Romania has children, right? And yet they don't go on red lights, despite the fact that other people do. How the fuck do we manage, right? Like, maybe send some scientists here, figure out how our culture works, and then import it over there. So you can stop terrorizing your people. Fuck. Kubusk. If in Germany someone crosses on a red light, why is everyone looking like it's bloody fucking murder? Like, seriously, like, you people are having, like, this idea of a society, because I was telling the chat earlier, like, having this idea of a society that if some person steps out of line, the entire system crumbles. Like, you need to make sure that, like, literally everyone does the exact correct thing all the time, every time, or else it destabilizes society. How fucking fragile is that society, man? This would be a good argument if it were not for the fact that so many grew up in single-parent households. In Romania, most of my generation grew up with their grandparents. Right? And so, like, for some fucking reason, I have managed in 39 years of my life to constantly cross the sidewalk without getting hit by a car or getting a fine. I think I'm doing well. I think I'm good. You know, if I can do it, I'm pretty sure everyone else can do it. Fucking hell, like, be an example for children. Oh, fuck off. Because the light is red, it stops you from crossing the dangerous road. No, listen, okay? I was talking about a friend of mine. So Kubusk is a German. I'll bully him now, chat. I was talking about a friend of mine who has the displeasure in living in your country. In your economic zone, I mean. And there was like a little sidewalk. A little fucking sidewalk. And they did the Romanian thing, which is like, it's 6 p.m. There's no cars in sight. Absolutely no one is, you know, no police officers, no nothing. So they decided to cross. and they got like the death stare from every single person around. It was almost like they have committed one of the greatest atrocities in traffic. It's like the horror that has been unleashed because this person has destabilized the nation. Probably like Olaf Schultz's chair was quaking. And that's not the only thing. Like, apparently she left her Christmas lights on. And so, like, this neighbor flew a drone to her balcony and then took a picture and posted the picture. It's like, are you going to take the Christmas lights down? Because it's like, fuck is wrong with you people? Who behaves like this? Right? Like here, the obnoxious thing of flying a drone and invading someone's private life is actually justifiable to start some violence. Like that's not acceptable. It's okay to cross that zebra streifen. I see. That sounds illegal. I don't fucking know. I think it's not illegal because like they took the drone picture from like the public space. If you need to report a German saying something mean on the internet, remember to fill out the They actually have a word for that. I can't fucking pronounce that. Chat, stop posting because the shit keeps scrolling up. Scheitleben. Okay, Scheitleben I can pronounce. Hatsepe akebs. No, Hatsepe akebs. Who the fuck came up with this word? Like, you're supposed to be a Latin language. What the fuck is this? I know, like, even I'm trying to read it, and I know how to read German, but like that, like, words do not belong next to each other to that level. Kpeb. Okay. Hat kepekap. Pikpeb. Pikpeb. Hat se pikpeb. It's not German? Oh. Well, I thought something is wrong. I thought, okay. It should probably be like Hatte Zeitung or some shit. Hasse Papieren. Hasse Papieren or some shit like that. All right. Let's understand the mindset. And now go into this shit, right? CBS aired ride along with German police on anti-free speech raid. Oh my god. This is kind of like, going along with the doctor, right? Like, journalists used to do that in my country. They would, like, tag along to a doctor, and it's like, okay, this is what it's like to be on watch. You know, like, to raise awareness for people, like, be more appreciating, like, when you... See, like, the thing in my country, it's like, how can this benefit society? And it's like, well, a lot of people go to the emergency ward, and they get very angry, right? Like, for instance, you stubbed your toe. So you go to the emergency ward, and no one is looking for you, and people get angry, and they start shouting at doctors. They're like, oh, why is no one giving me attention? Why isn't, right? And so, like, when that person goes there with the stubbed toe, he doesn't understand that maybe there's a grandma there with a heart attack, and she probably needs more care than you. And so, like, the idea is that one day, maybe it's your grandma over there, right? And if you tell Romanian people in a logical manner why things work the way they are, they're more likely to accept them. Rather than just dictate, it's like, oh, no, don't go here, you're going to get a fine, blah, blah, blah. And there were, like, these government initiatives from, like, the Romanian television. It's like, all right, well, let's see what a doctor does on call, you know? And they would follow him, and they would see what he does on watch. If you were to make such a program in Romania, like, let's see how the police arrest people for being cheeky little shits online on the internet, it would have the opposite effect. Like, people would hate the cops even more. Like, they would consider the cops to be the Stasi, to be, like, the enforcement arm of fascism. Look here. CBS 60 Minutes broadcaster, German police raiding a man's home over internet posts. The same day the network's Margaret Brenner suggests Nazis weaponize free speech to conduct a genocide. Where the fuck do you pull this rhetoric? Like, how many blows? How many blows to the head to a university professor to come up with this utmost retarded concept? Like, this retarded concept cannot possibly exist unless it's enforced top down. And the German people, like sheep, they believe it. It's like, okay, free speech leads to Nazi and genocide. So basically you're telling me that the Mongol invasion happened in Europe because the Mongols had free speech, right? But like for some reason, they didn't go into Nazism, but they did go into genocide. By the way, like Israel is in a little bit of a pickle right now, right? Like the German government, they're signatories of the ICC, right? Like the International Court Committee. Okay. They think that Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. Like everything that I'm saying is true. Like, this is public information, right? Like, this is why Benjamin Netanyahu isn't very welcomed in the Schengen area. Because the countries would have to arrest him. Same like Putin. Okay. Now, if he's a war criminal, then that means that the country Israel committed war crimes. Right? Because, like, he's a prime minister. He's not the one that personally went into Gaza and committed atrocities, according to the ICC. No, he is accused that he ordered soldiers that were just following orders. Like, again, like, this is public info, what I'm saying. It's not haram to point it out. And so, is it because he had free speech? Is it because we allow the politicians to have free speech? Well, maybe we should start cracking down on the free speech of politicians. How about that? To prevent atrocities, to prevent Nazism, maximum free speech for the public, minimum free speech for the politician. Listen to this, right? 60 Minutes correspondent, German police officer, alleged crime of posting a racist cartoon online. Hi V, I'm glad to see fascismus is alive and well in the German economic zone. Also, you missed my comment, wishing you well on the last Archcast. I'm sorry, I could only stay for like 1 hour because then the baby starts crying if I talk too much at 3 a.m. in the morning, but yeah. You'll get prosecuted for calling a fat politician fat during Germany. I wonder if Kubusk told me this story. Like, Kubusk 7. Kubusk 7, are you still in the chat? Chat, find me Kubusk 7. Bring him before me. Bring the German before me. I need to speak with him. I need to Sprache. I need to give him the Sprache. You need to repost that cartoon. Do you know that you go on Twitter and there are accounts that are like, this post has been removed for violating laws in the European Union. Did you guys see that? And you're wondering, like, what the fuck did this guy Fed post? Like, what the fuck did he say? And then you see it's like, oh, a cartoon. Oh, I see. You know, like a racist meme. Oh, goodness. I'm so glad this has been removed from the internet. Okay, Kubusk, are you the one that told me this story? I think you are the one that told me this story. It happened when Kubusk was a little lad. He wasn't Kubusk 7. He was Kubusk 5. Right? Kubusk 5. It was Kubusk 5. And he said that he used to go into this fair that was organized in his town. Was he in Frankfurt? I don't know. Like, I'll say Frankfurt in order to embellish the story. In the city of Frankfurt, he was there as a young man, Kubusk 5. And he saw a fair. And in the fair, they were making fun of German politicians. And you had like a caricature of Merkel and a caricature of other politicians. And so he was thinking, wow, you know, I'm so glad I'm not in China. Because like in China, you can't do this with German Z. It's like if you do this with German Z, you get arrested, you get in trouble. But like here in Germany, we have human rights. We have the ability to criticize our politicians. We have the ability to say whatever we want. We're free people. What the fuck happened with that, Germany? Huh? What the fuck happened with that? No, seriously, like, there's this joke that I came up with, and I don't even know if it's a joke anymore, but, like, if China took over Germany, right? So, like, seriously, like, think about it this way. Through some magical means, Germany now is under CCP rule, right? So, like, you don't have German legislators, you have, like, the people from the Communist Party of China. And so, what exactly would change for the German person? Like for the average German citizen, what would change? Well, you still wouldn't have free speech. I guess like it would be a different flavor of censorship, right? Like you probably can call now some politicians fat, but you can't talk about the Tiananmen Square, right? So like maybe no, actually you can do hate speech, I think. Right, you can do hate speech. You can probably show the happy wheel. Like you can do all these things, but you can't talk about Tiananmen Square. But other than that, it's pretty much the same shit, right? Like it's still the same authoritarian crackdown, still everything. Like nothing would change. In fact, you'd probably get less crime because like the Chinese are less tolerant towards that and less migration. Also, when you Google something, at the end of the page, it says the results have been removed due to European law. I do think like there is. Oh, by the way, speaking of sign language, do you know how you say Nazi in sign language? I hope this is not going to copyright the stream, but it's. There's this this YouTube channel, and it basically tells you how to speak certain words in sign language. And the one that has like the most views, it's called Nazi in ASL. Stop doing what you're doing and watch the fucking screen. Oi. Look at the screen. I'm showing you wisdom. This one has like 27,000 views. Right? Like the other views, they have like 100 views, 200 views. This one has 27,000. How do you say Nazi in sign language? Hold on. Did you catch that? Let's change the speed. Alright. Look at this, right? Kubusk! Don't look, Kubusk. It may be illegal in your country. So it's like the Elon Musk salute. My heart goes out to you, right? Well, actually, no. I think it's like my mustache. My mustache, right? Like, meine Mustache goes out to you. The arm angle is a little bit off. It actually is illegal in his country, see? I'm actually curious though, like can you imagine two woke people that are mute and they're using sign language to communicate and they're accusing each other of being a Nazi? Like no, seriously, just imagine that, like two woke individuals accusing each other and it's like, meine Mustache, no, seine Mustache, my mustache, you know? Straighten that arm, woman. You're saying that she doesn't have the form? She doesn't have the correct form, huh? It is even illegal to say everything for Germany because the mustache man said it. I see. Now, the only saying that I agree is that Germany is for Germans because I want you guys to actually stay the fuck there. Alright? Like, don't come over here. It's bad. It's bad. Just stay over there. I really hate your culture in the sense of, like, every single person needs to do the correct thing at all time, every time, or else society falls apart. I hate that mentality, right? I don't like the ideology of censorship. I don't like any of that. So please stay there. Don't come over here. You know, the mustache man was also a vegan? Ah, hell no. What was his stance on nuclear power? Actually, no. Well, he probably didn't have... Hold on, I'm a little bit stupid. He didn't have a stance on nuclear power because it wasn't fucking invented yet. The mustache gave animal rights. Can we dissolve PETA now? It is semi-illegal to say Germany for Germans. Not forbidden, but still investigated? Okay, but I'm saying it. I'm saying it to keep you guys contained. The mustache man wanted nuclear power, but he couldn't develop a bomb in time. Is that an actual thing, though? I mean, did people even know at the time? Because I hear like a lot of lore and trivia, but I can't be sure like which one is real and which one is hindsight is 2020. The status on nuclear was wood. Well, to be fair, like that's why a lot of technology advances really fast in a war. It's because a lot of the red tape and bureaucracy is removed, and it's like, come on, we need to get an edge on our enemy. Mustache Man wanted nuclear engine for tanks. No, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's really retarded. Because what happens to tanks? They blow up. What happens if you have like a nuclear engine? It irradiates all of your allies. Like think about it this way, right? Besides the fact that the troops themselves would be at risk, because I don't know, like the abilities of World War II technology to contain radiation. If a tank blows up, it's not going to go nuclear, right? But like all of the leakage from the radioactive material, it's going to contaminate all the soldiers. And not only that, but like repairing the tank, right? Because like some tanks can be repaired, recommissioned. And so like a nuclear tank is one of the worst ideas ever. It's the same reason why you don't have nuclear cars. Like it's not that the technology doesn't exist. It's not like you wouldn't be able to make a car that would run on a nuclear engine. But like the moment you have a car crash, the moment like something happens with that car, well, all the nuclear radioactive material gets loose. So yeah. It's kind of like having a dirty bomb, if you will. For ships is different, actually. Because what happens with the ship? It sinks. Well, if it sinks, it's on the bottom of the ocean, it's killing fish, who fucking cares? Right? But like if it's on a battlefield and it's a tank that is destroyed and it stays there, well, you have to remove it somehow. Reigning Terror has a super chat. I'm so sorry. Why the fuck do I keep missing them? Remember when the FBI went after an old guy for saying things about Brandon, but Kathy Griffin held a Trump head? To be fair, I think they went after Kathy Griffin as well. I think not only did they went after Kathy Griffin, but like she actually got canceled for that in a culture that was very left-leaning. It was still considered unacceptable what she did. However, she got back during BLM. Like, during BLM, she became relevant and started doing her joke again and all that shit. So, yeah. You know what? I'm actually curious. Hold on. Let me ask the Chinese AI. Now I'm... I need to find something. I need to ask the AI a very interesting question. It's got DeepThink installed, so... Okay. An evil genie brings back Hitler from the grave. Hitler just wants to paint and is not interested... No, sorry. He forces Hitler to draw a Pepe. He does this in front of the media. What would the German government reaction be? Let's tackle this hypothetical scenario. The user is asking us about the German government reaction to an evil genie resurrecting Hitler and forces him to draw a Pepe in front of the media. First, I need to break down the elements here. Hitler's return, the act of drawing Pepe, which is a meme with various connotations, and the German government response. Starting with the legal aspect, Germany has strict laws against Nazi symbols. Even the depiction of Hitler is a sensitive issue. So the mere presence of Hitler himself, even if forced to draw something, would likely be illegal. Oh, come on! No fucking way! Really? I think it's true. That's why I'm laughing. Yeah, like the presence of the man himself would be illegal. The government would need to respond legally, possibly arresting him for his past crimes and current violations. Next, the use of Pepe the Frog. Originally a harmless meme, Pepe has been co-opted by alt-right groups. Alright, so, legal actions. Immediate arrest proceedings for Hitler as a symbolic figure of Nazi ideology under laws prohibiting the dissemination of Nazi propaganda and incitement of hatred. You need to take into account, it doesn't matter what the law is called, right? It matters what the law says. And in this case, yes, I think you can actually use the law of prohibiting the dissemination of Nazi propaganda to arrest Hitler himself if he was alive today. His mere presence would violate laws against displaying Nazi symbol or figures. Investigation into the distribution of Pepe, drawing particularly if contextualized as hate speech, while Pepe itself is not illegal. An association with Hitler could lead to restrictions. Media management, collaboration with media outlets to block publication of Hitler's image. This is literally a Chinese-style response. Like, if you go into CCP and you were to draw Chairman Z as Winnie the Pooh, this is literally what they would do, like immediate censorship of that image throughout all social media, throughout every broadcasting station. The government might invoke Strafgesetzbuch laws to penalize outlets that broadcast the content. Like literal Chinese tactics would be applied. Public statement condemning the act as a malicious stunt, emphasizing Germany's unwavering stance to extremism. High-profile speeches by political leader, for instance, the Chancellor, reaffirming democratic values and historical responsibility. Legal scrutiny of the evil genie. Okay, the evil genie is actually an 18-year-old teenage girl with superpowers that likes to stir up shit. She goes in the ocean and brings up a WW2 submarine complete with its with the remains of its crew and a happy wheel on its tail covered in sea moss. She takes the submarine to Nick Fuentes' house and wants to donate it to him. How would the German government respond? Okay, so the user is asking a scenario where an 18-year-old girl with superpowers who likes causing trouble brings up a World War II submarine from the ocean, complete with the raiments of his crew and a swastika, the happy wheel covered in sea moss on its tail. She takes the submarine to Nick Fuentes' house. First, I need to recall previous conversation. The user previously asked about Hitler, blah, blah, blah. Now the scenario involves a historical artifact. Legal aspect. Germany has strict laws against Nazi symbol, including the happy wheel. The submarine with the happy wheel would be illegal to display. If the submarine is brought to Nick Fuentes, who is a known far-right personality, the German government would need to address both the symbols and the potential glorification. Since the submarine is in another country, assuming Nick Fuentes is in the United States, Germany's jurisdiction might be limited, but they could work with international partners. The remains of the crew might involve war grave considerations. Disturbing war graves is a sensitive issue, especially from World War II. The girl with superpower complicates things, but the government would focus on what's actionable. They might issue statements condemning the act, collaborate with US authorities to handle the submarine, and possibly push for the removal of the happy wheel. International law. The submarine as a war relic might have specific legal status. Germany might claim ownership to prevent misuse. They might work with organizations like the International Maritime Organization, UNESCO, blah, blah, blah. Seizure of the Nazi symbol. The submarine swastika happy wheel violates German laws banning Nazi symbols. Germany would pressure the US authorities, assuming Nick Fuentes is in the US, to confiscate or destroy the emblem. Pressure on US authorities. German embassy and consulates would urge the FBI department or Homeland Security to invest Nick Fuentes' accusation of the submarine, framing it as a national security risk of radicalization or trafficking of historical weapons. Historical preservation. If the submarine is deemed a protected wreck, Germany could claim ownership to prevent its misuse. Condemnation and education. High-profile leaders like the Chancellor would publicly denounce the incident, linking it to ongoing far-right threats. Holocaust memorial institution like the Bundesrat für politische Bildung would launch campaign emphasizing the submarine historical context. Addressing the genie factor. While the supernatural element complicates realism, Germany would treat the teenager as a hypothetical extremist actor, classifying her as a potential security threat, tracking her activities through Europol. Meme culture vigilance. Analyze how the submarine's donation intersects with the online far-right ecosystem. Given that the wreck was recovered from the bottom of the ocean and donated to Nick Fuentes, would the government be able to force Nick to give up his property? It's considering the jurisdiction. The German government would consider that the submarine is German property regardless of the time passed. Under the United Nations Convention, sunken warship generally remain the property of their original nation unless explicitly abandoned. If the submarine is identified as a German World War II vessel, Germany could assert ownership as the flag state regardless of its location or salvage. Germany does not recognize the abandonment of its military wrecks even after decades. This principle was affirmed. Sovereign immunity. Military wrecks are often considered sovereign property immune to salvage claims. Germany could argue that the submarine is protected under this doctrine and Nick Fuentes should be compelled to surrender it. German legal pressure. It might lobby action under the US-EU agreements of combating extremism or the Global Magnitsky Act, targeting individuals engaged in harmful activities. But this would require proof that Fuentes collaborated with the genie. War grave status. If human remains are present, Germany could invoke international humanitarian law to demand repatriation of the crew, potentially forcing the submarine seizure as a grave site. The United States might comply to avoid diplomatic friction. The U.S. domestic law and property rights. Salvage law. Under U.S. maritime law, salvagers can claim ownership of abandoned wrecks in international waters. However, if Germany declines that the submarine was never abandoned, per its historical policy, the U.S. courts might side with Germany. Precedents like Sea Hunt versus Inc. Unidentified shipwreck vessel showed the U.S. defense to foreign governments' ownership claims. The U.S. Department of Justice could seize the submarine. It's deemed a hazard. Its submarine is classified as a historical significant artifact. The U.S. might restrict its private ownership under the National Stolen Property Act. Likely outcome. Voluntary surrender. Nick Fuentes may see the light. Seizure via U.S. courts. If Germany proves ownership, then the offense will take the sub away from Nick Fuentes. Destruction of Nazi symbol. The U.S. authorities might mandate removal of the swastika, neutering its propaganda value by leaving Fuentes with the physical whole. I see. I don't think like the last one is possible though. Americans have this thing called free speech, but... Kubo 7, the government in Germany literally thinks that if you see and hear Nazi imagery and sounds, it will corrupt you. Oh my fucking god. Could talk with you for hours about it. No, I think I get it. I think I understand. It's like a mystical thing. It's almost like the same way that blasphemy laws exist in the Middle East. What if Ashley St. Clair had a baby with Adolf? I don't know. Why would I ask DeepSeek about free speech in Hong Kong when I know it's not going to answer to me? Like, you need to treat AI that it has like certain lobotomies, and the AI doesn't have free speech. Now, the way you use AI is if you want to know about free speech in Hong Kong, you ask ChatGPT. And if you want to know about trans rights, you ask DeepSeek. That's how it fucking works. If you want to hear the N-word, you ask DeepSeek. If you want to hear about Z being Winnie the Pooh, you ask ChatGPT. Yeah. What if Fuentes claimed the Second Amendment to owning the U-boat? All right, hold on. That's actually interesting. Let's see what it says. What if Fuentes claims the Second Amendment to maintain ownership of the U-boat? First, I need to recall what the Second Amendment covers. It's about the right to bear arms, typically referring to firearms. But how does that reply to a World War II submarine? Fuentes might argue that the submarine is an arm or a weapon, thus protected under the Second Amendment, but it's likely a stretch. Submarines are military equipment, not personal arms. Fuentes might claim that the U-boat classified as an arm protected under the Second Amendment, but this argument would face immediate legal and practical hurdles. Definition of arms. U.S. has consistently interpreted arms as personal weapons, for instance, firearms for self-defense, or militia service, not military-grade weapons like submarine or nuclear weapons. Precedent in the U.S. versus Miller, the Supreme Court ruled that Second A protects weapons with some reasonable relationship to the preservation of efficiency of a well-regulated militia, but not unregulated military hardware. Destructive devices. The U-boat armaments, for instance, torpedoes, decks, and guns, would classify it as a destructive device under the NFA. Private ownership of such devices requires federal registration and approvals, which Fuentes would lack. Even if the submarine was demilitarized, its historical status as a warship would be complicated, the Second Amendment claims. Salvage rights versus sovereign immunity. War grave and human remains. Yeah, it would be like... it would be like a lot of other complex issues. It's kind of like the way I think, you know, if you find a gun, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can claim the Second Amendment to keep it. Like, you're allowed to have a gun, you're not allowed to have that particular one. So it's probably that's how it would be interpreted. You can own a tank, but you can't own a fighter plane. You can own a fighter plane, but why not a World War II sub? You can own a World War II sub, but it has to be yours, right? And if the way you acquire it is not through legal means, and in this situation, okay, like someone pulls up a German U-boat from the bottom of the ocean, and there's like international agreements where the world recognizes that such historical relics belong to Germany, then, yeah. Just claim Manifest Destiny on it. Does DeepSeek know if USA has the right to own Greenland? Let's see. It's such boring question. No, I refuse to ask a boring question. It has to be fun. If it's not making me laugh, if I'm not thinking that I'm going to get a hilarious answer, I'm not even going to bother. You can do it yourself. Did you know that Adolf wanted to stay in the military? I did not, actually. Tell me the name of a USS destroyer. Truman? Is Truman a USS carrier? No, so not a destroyer, a carrier. Harry Truman, yes. Alright. An 18-year-old female genie with supernatural powers transports the USS Truman from its original place into the Black Sea in order to troll everyone in the region. From a scale of 1 to 10, how ass-hurt would Russia be over such a maneuver? Just so you can understand, like, if you did that, that means, like, complete and utter dominance. Like, complete and utter NATO dominance in the Black Sea. Like, you'd have just unquestionable, like, just, like, flat out unquestionable maritime power. On a scale of 1 to 10, Russia would be a solid 11 assert. Here's why. Strategic provocation. The Black Sea is a Russian sphere of influence, home to critical naval bases. For instance, Sevastopol and Crimea. And a key route for projecting power in the Mediterranean and Middle East. A U.S. carrier sudden appearing would be seen as an existential threat, bypassing all physicals and legal barriers, like the Montreux Convention, which restricts foreign warships. Russia military would panic, assuming it's a prelude to war. Legal and diplomatic fury. The supranational circumvention of the Montreux Convention would spark accusations of NATO magical aggression, demanding emergency UN Security Council meetings. Turkey, the gatekeeper of the Bosphorus, would also be roped into the chaos, straining Russian-Turkey relations even further. Escalation risk. Russia's Black Sea fleet would scramble. Anti-ship systems in Crimea, like the Bastion missiles, will go on high alert. A state media would broadcast apocalyptic rhetoric about an American genie warfare. Diplomatic ties would nosedive, with expulsion of diplomats and threats of cyber attacks. Domestic propaganda bonanza. State TV would frame this as proof of Western disrespect for international law, rallying nationalist sentiment. Putin's speeches would suddenly include cryptic warnings about interdimensional interference. Holy shit, he would be turned into Alex Jones. Global confusion. NATO allies would be baffled, scrambling to deny involvement while low-key investigating how to recruit this genie. The U.S. Sixth Fleet would post memes like, not all full, but you're welcome. How would they get the carrier out of there? You literally now have a trapped carrier. Removing the Truman from the Black Sea would require a mix of supernatural creativity, geopolitical gymnastics, and sheer chaos. The 18-year-old genie bored with the chaos casually flicks her wrist and returns the carrier. No. Alternative troll move. She relocates the carrier to Legno. Turkey dilemma. Under the Montreux Convention, non-Black Sea powers can't keep aircraft carriers in the Black Sea for more than 21 days. Turkey, gatekeeper of the Bosphorus, would face immediate pressure to let the Truman leave, but Russia would threaten to accidentally mine the strait. Backroom deals. The US offers Turkey F-35s or a lifetime supply of Starbucks franchises in Ankara. Turkey reluctantly opens the border on humanitarian grounds. Russia demands a trade. We'll let the carrier go if you give us Alaska back. That's actually a really nice way to use the AI to entertain yourself. Because, like, there's nothing entertaining on Netflix now or on Hollywood. So, like, you ask the AI dumb shit and it's coming up with, like, really interesting responses. Well, yeah, like, a ship for Alaska basically means that the Russians don't want to do it, right? Like, when you're asking... Like, this is a diplomatic tactic when you want to say no, but you don't want to be viewed as saying no. So, theoretically... You're asking for some, like you're willing to negotiate, right? And you're asking a continent, sorry, you're asking Alaska for a ship. In this situation, like no one in their right mind would say yes, which is basically meaning that you're not interested in negotiating. However, in the likely scenario that like, okay, well, you really want that ship and you're giving Russians Alaska, then well, they get Alaska, so. Anyway, I'm going to end it here because I need to upload some videos on my other channels. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. I try making it a little bit more entertaining than usual. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.